Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today we've got something completely weird and insane to check out. Now you might be saying, this isn't weird or insane at all, this is just a chainsaw. But this is actually a car jump starter running on a chainsaw engine. So instead of puny lead acid batteries or even lithium batteries, when you want to jump your car, you put some gas in this sucker, you fire it up. This absolute crime against common sense was invented by William P. Lear, the same guy who invented Learjets. Apparently Old Bill was a genuine American mad scientist, inventing everything from autopilot to 8-track tapes. Later on, he tried to market a steam-powered bus running on a secret compound called Lyrium. He also co-founded Motorola and once hired the exiled king of Romania as a test pilot. If you made a movie about this guy's life, no one would believe it, but I got all that from his Wikipedia page, so it's probably mostly true. In between single-handedly inventing half the technology of the 1960s, Lear decided to see what would happen if you put a chainsaw and a car alternator together. The two machines loved each other very, very much, and a few months later, the Lear Charger was born. The Lear Charger has other obvious benefits as well. For example, if you're stuck in the woods in a snowstorm and a pack of wolves is closing in, you can't get your car started, just the sound of this thing starting will drive off every animal in a 10-mile radius. Likewise, if you're trapped in a 1970s horror movie and the killer is closing in, you're trying to start your car, you pull this thing out of the trunk, that killer is going to go somewhere else. So the engine on this is basically just a McCulloch chainsaw with a Motorola car alternator attached to the front. Instead of the regular bar and chain, we have a drive system here. And then we have a switch to select between 12 volts for cars and 24 volts for planes, because this looks like standard, normal aviation equipment. Now, I had never seen or heard of the Lear Charger until a month ago when I saw this pop up in an estate auction. I immediately knew I had to have it, and after I got into a slight bidding war with another buyer, I brought the thing home. All right, that is enough talking from me. Let's see if this crazy thing actually runs. It's definitely been in somebody's garage for 50 years. It is really dirty, but I don't see anything obviously wrong with it, so I think it might fire right up. All right, starts up first try. All right, I admit I had to mess with the carburetor a little and change the fuel filter and do a couple other things. All right, I admit that didn't work either because we had to take the carburetor completely off, put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, soak it in carb cleaner. Carburetors were invented personally by Satan, and their only function is to cause problems for mechanics. Why won't it start? I have to say, if it came down to messing with a carburetor or fighting off a pack of wolves in the forest, I'd take the wolves. Well, I think we've determined why history forgot the Lear Charger and why this is not standard equipment in every car trunk and every airplane cargo bay. This thing is crap. I think this is day 3 of trying to get the Lear Charger working. We've taken the carburetor apart, everything looks fine, we've cleaned the carburetor, we've thrown everything through the ultrasonic cleaner. It has fuel, it has fresh fuel, it has spark, it has air. It just will not stay running. It will try to start, and then it's like it's not sucking fuel through the carburetor properly. I've checked the seals here. This seems to be fine. This fuel line isn't leaking. The gas tank isn't leaking. The fuel filter is fine. We've taken that out. We've replaced that. When I had the carburetor pulled off, we looked down on the cylinder. Everything looked beautiful in there. It was in great condition, probably because it's never been run, because the prior owner probably couldn't get it started. Sure, you could be stuck somewhere with an engine that won't start, but if you had a Lear Charger, you'd be stuck somewhere with 2 engines that won't start. All right, I admit it, I had to completely tear the carburetor down and rebuild it with all new gaskets and internal parts. At this point, it would have been easier and probably cheaper to throw this in the garbage and just buy an all-new carburetor, but I could not find an exact match for this thing online. And then I had to warm everything up with a heat lamp for a while. So let's try to fire this thing up and see if it actually works. Come on. Even after all that, I still can't get the thing to fire up reliably every time. It is a real pain in the ass. All right, starts up first try. Yeah, first try my ass. I've been playing with this thing some more. It seems like you have to adjust both of the needle valves, both the high speed and low speed needle, to to get it to idle correctly, and there's the throttle tensioning thing. So it definitely needs a lot of fiddling around to get it to run just right, and it's still not running just right. At least it kind of starts 50% of the time now. Now it does generate electricity. We got up to about 17 volts with the 12 volt setting, and I don't even know how high we got with the 24 volt setting. I think I maxed out my multimeter, but yeah, it definitely makes electricity. The little alternator does work. The engine does work. All right, well, would I trust the Lear Charger in an emergency situation to jumpstart my car? Absolutely not. This thing is terrible. Maybe this was a good idea back in the 1970s, but these days this is just a nightmare, and this is going to be more trouble than it's worth. These days, you can get a lithium-ion battery jumper, and this thing has been sitting in my car all winter, and it still has 3 out of 4 bars of power, so I think I would trust the modern age jumpstart solution versus another internal combustion engine that does not like to run in the cold or in the warm or at any time, really. Overall, I'm really not sure the point of this thing. There are generators from this era that are this size and weight that are much quieter. This thing is way louder than a generator. It is way less convenient. It is way fiddlier to get it to run. For how heavy, bulky, and probably expensive this thing was in the 70s, you could probably just buy another car battery, keep that charged, and keep that in your car versus this stupid thing. And honestly, keeping a second car battery around, keeping it charged, is probably less hassle and less hoops to jump through than maintaining this thing, keeping the carburetor clean, keeping the gas fresh, and just keeping it in ready-to-go condition. Yeah, it's an interesting idea, but I don't think it was ever actually a good idea. So even though this is one of the worst ways to jumpstart your car, it is still the most heavy metal way to jumpstart your car, and despite being completely impractical, it's still really awesome. Lear Charger, 1 out of 5 stars for reliability, 1 out of 5 stars for practicality, 5 out of 5 stars for awesome.